is not dead!
You can't just ignore the bylaws.
I've lived in Maplewood Meadows for over a decade, one of those perfect, suburban neighborhoods where every lawn looks like it came out of a magazine and the HOA patrols like it's Fort Knox. Back when my wife, Melissa, and I moved in, things were peaceful. We had friendly neighbors, summer cookouts, and the occasional HOA email about trash can placement or lawn height, the usual stuff. But that all changed when Linda Matthews became HOA president. Now, I'd met Linda before. Platinum blonde, always in business casual clothes, the kind of woman who treated every sidewalk crack like a personal insult. She'd once lectured a teenager for parking his bike against a mailbox. So when she got elected president, most of us groaned but figured, how bad could it be? Well, we found out. It started small. One morning, I got a letter taped to my front door, not mailed, taped. Big red print, notice of violation. Apparently, my garage door color was not in compliance with HOA-approved tones. Now, for context, I hadn't changed my garage color in 10 years. It was a neutral beige, matched the house perfectly. I thought maybe it was a mix-up. So I emailed the HOA. Hi Linda, I received a violation about my garage color. I haven't painted it since moving in. Is this an error? She replied in under 2 minutes. Tom, the HOA recently updated the approved color chart. Yours is now considered off-shade. You'll need to repaint within 10 days to avoid a fine. Off-shade. What does that even mean? I sighed and told Melissa. She rolled her eyes. Off-shade? That woman needs a hobby. We decided to let it slide and handle it after the weekend. But that weekend turned into something else entirely. It was Saturday morning. Melissa was visiting her sister, and I was in the garage tinkering with my old Jeep, my pride and joy. I had the door open, music playing softly, coffee on the workbench. Peaceful morning. Then I heard it, a click. The side door, the one leading from the backyard into the garage, rattled. I frowned. No one should be back there. Another click. Then the latch turned. Before I could move, the door creaked open, and there she was. Linda Matthews. HOA clipboard in one hand, phone in the other, peeking inside like she was a detective on a case. Linda. I said, shocked. She jumped. Oh. Tom, I didn't think you were home. I stepped closer, trying to process what I was seeing. You used a key. How did you even get in here? Oh, don't be dramatic, she said, brushing past me. The side gate was open, and I needed to inspect the paint. HOA policy allows random inspections. I blinked. You broke into my property. She gave a tight smile. Technically, I'm not inside your home. And the garage faces the community, so it's common visibility. You wouldn't believe how many violations I've found like this. I couldn't believe what she said next. I might have to issue an additional fine for the clutter, she added, eyeing my tools. That's when I knew I had to fight back. I called the police right there. She froze when I did. Tom, that's not necessary. We can settle this through the board. No, I said firmly. You entered private property without permission. That's trespassing. Within 10 minutes, a patrol car pulled up. The officer took statements from both of us. Linda tried to play innocent, I was just doing a community inspection. The officer wasn't buying it. Ma'am, you don't have legal authority to enter private property. Next time, you'll be charged. She huffed, muttered something about ungrateful residents, and stormed off. I figured that was the end of it. But I underestimated Linda. Over the next few weeks, violation notices became a daily ritual. Improper hose storage. Lawn edging exceeds 3 inches. Non-regulation mailbox. It was absurd. I had a folder full of fines before the month was over. Melissa was livid. She's harassing us, Tom. This isn't just about paint anymore. I know, I said. But I've been keeping records, every notice, every timestamp, every picture. I also installed new cameras. 3 around the house, 1 facing the garage. Because I had a feeling Linda wasn't done sneaking around. And I was right. One night around 9:30, I got a motion alert on my phone. I pulled up the feed, and there she was again. Linda Matthews. Flashlight in hand, pacing near my garage. I watched as she tried the door handle, then leaned close to the side window, peering inside. I couldn't believe it. So I called the police again. This time, I didn't even have to explain much. I showed them the footage, time-stamped and clear as day. The officer recognized her from the previous report. Looks like she didn't learn her lesson. They sent a cruiser. I watched from the porch as they questioned her under the streetlight. She was red-faced, stammering, trying to claim she was checking for unauthorized modifications. The officer looked unimpressed. You're not authorized to enter or inspect private garages. Step away, ma'am. They wrote her a formal warning for trespassing. The next morning, my phone lit up with a long email from her. Tom, I'm deeply disappointed you involved the police again. Your behavior is creating unnecessary tension in our community. The board will be reviewing your membership status. I just smiled. She had no idea what was coming. 2 weeks later, the HOA held an emergency meeting, clearly about me. I showed up with my folder and flash drive in hand. Melissa sat beside me, calm but visibly angry. Linda opened the meeting with her usual condescending tone. We're here to address a pattern of disruptive behavior from resident Tom Bradley, including repeated police involvement and failure to comply with community guidelines. Actually, I interrupted, we're here to address your behavior, Linda. I plugged in my flash drive and projected the footage onto the meeting room wall. The moment her flashlight-lit face appeared on camera, the room went silent. Gasps. Murmurs. Even a few chuckles. The video clearly showed her trespassing, twice. Then I pulled out the police reports, time-stamped violation letters, and copies of the HOA charter showing that board members cannot conduct inspections without written consent or 48-hour notice. Linda turned pale. This is a misunderstanding. No, I said. This is evidence. And as of this morning, I filed a harassment complaint and a request for a restraining order. One of the other board members, a retired lawyer named Greg, spoke up. Linda, this is serious. You've overstepped your authority multiple times. The vote was unanimous. Linda Matthews was removed as HOA president that night. A month later, the HOA sent me a letter, an apology letter. They rescinded all my fines, refunded the fees, and even covered the cost of repainting my garage to any color I chose from their old approved list. But the best part? Linda's husband put their house up for sale not long after. Word around the neighborhood was that she'd been forced to step down entirely from the HOA board across the county. The woman who once prided herself on inspecting every inch of the community had finally inspected herself right out of it. Looking back, I don't think Linda was evil, just power-hungry. Some people crave control so badly, they forget where the line is. But here's what I learned. When someone crosses that line, you don't have to scream or stoop to their level. You just have to know your rights, and hold the evidence. Because in the end, truth always wins, even in an HOA. Power means nothing without integrity. Stand your ground, politely, firmly, and with proof.